Hello, everyone, and welcome to Just Unsecure. Thank you for all the views and all the comments left. We definitely do appreciate it. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about our passwords going away anytime soon. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe. See you right back. My name is Babs, and my co-host is OO. And we're information security enthusiasts and evangelists. Today's topic, like I said earlier, is we're going to be talking about passwords. So are passwords going away anytime soon? That is the main topic of discussion. For me, I would say no. I don't know about you, or what would you say about passwords?
Unfortunately, I'd like to agree with you on that because I was like, let me think about it. Should I? Password is going to go away eventually, but soon, that's not going to happen.
But most of the viewers, like one of the viewers I was talking to was like, okay, it keeps reading in security magazines and all that and saying, well, they're saying passwords are going. Well, why shouldn't we be advocating the use of being passwordless? And so I told him, I said, look, yes, you might have a reason, and like say removing password is definitely a solid goal. We're not saying password won't be removed, but right now we don't see it happening the way people talk about it. So when I say password means I'm never going to use a password to log into anything. But I don't think that's the case, because though there's still some vulnerabilities with passwords, we are going to show you some or talk about some of the security things we think that really still affects passwordless. And that is why many people still, like us, think passwords are not going away anytime soon. So for me, the first one I normally go to is looking at the directory. Most people use AD directory in the organization.
Absolutely.
And as you know, we're going to the cloud-based. So and most people have AD directory. But if you're some medium-sized organizations and you have or even large enterprises as well, may still want to have their directory in-house and hence have a cloud-based directory, but still has that authentication or replication done from the in-house Active Directory. So if you have the Active Directory that is still in-house, depending, and the cloud Active Directory is still depending on the in-house Active Directory, the passwordless is not going to be seamless. It still needs to authenticate and ensure that the in-house Active Directory has the valid users, should I say. So from that perspective, I don't see passwords going out anytime. So because it's a difficult concept if you're using that kind of model, which exists now, might change later as cloud market grows. But right now, that model is what most organizations are adopting. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you completely with what you've just said. But looking at it in the perspective, right, I love passwordless. In fact, I use passwordless for some of my accounts now. I use authenticators for some of them. We just send a notification to me and I just press that. We're used to it. It's very easy for users to adopt, but at the same time, some users are also reducing passwordless because of the push notifications coming too much. So that's story at the end of the day. So they are going like, just give me my password. I can save it in the browser. I can use my fingerprint. Why should I be getting SMS almost every time? Come on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Passwordless is very good. And you touched the major point right there, meaning that these are all technology that we cannot really move away from, like Active Directory, Microsoft Active Directory, some held up solutions as well. Even when organization move into the cloud, they still kind of bring this along. It's still their central point of authentication. So password is still here. And meanwhile,
Absolutely.
we are jumping into something else that we have not even mastered how to manage password. I don't know what is going to happen how we are going to manage passwordless, because passwordless won't just drop from the sky. That now comes to the method, right? So when we talk about most of the passwordless method, they still rely on some level of password that you set once, or later on you set up a PIN. So whether you like it or not, at the end of the day, is the kind of form of password that you use at the foundation. And when your passwordless ceases to work as a new technology as this, you still fall back to passwords.
Exactly.
And at that time, I can almost guess 99%, you don't even remember the initial password or PIN that you set, because the convenience of the passwordless has made you forget all of that. So then you pick up your phone and you call who? Help desk.
And that is another security issue that is going to arise with passwordless. Let me even go a little bit back. Most of the people say, okay, but we have biometric authentication on our laptops. And the person I was discussing was saying this, we have authentication biometrics. And I said, okay, fair enough. You have that passwordless, you can use that. But what if it fails? When that fails, all your account gets locked. What are you going to rely on? Password. Because the password still needs to be set for you to be able to authenticate to your devices. Even though you have your biometric laptops or your biometric authentication devices, at the end of it, when it fails, you revert to your password. And I know that without mentioning organizations, I know that there's a push for businesses to move towards the passwordless, but I've noticed the drive is not picked up because there's still some vulnerabilities that, like what we've discussed right now, what happens when password fails. And the only thing that's going to happen is, yes, they're still going to call a help desk, and what's going to happen, that leads to other vulnerabilities, which is also social engineering. For example, imagine somebody else calling call center saying, okay, my password doesn't work, but is able to authenticate, knows your username, knows your date of birth, knows everything that the organization requires to reset your password, and maybe even ask your phone to reset it. That's another security risk when you go fully passwordless. So those are the kind of things we normally say, look, that is why we're still saying passwordless are good, don't get us wrong, but for now, we don't see it changing. And for me, I am going with password is just saying, look, we need to have a stronger mechanism from a security perspective to drive the password. So as long as password is yet to stay, we just need to drive the security best practice when it comes to password security. So some organizations say use 6 lengths, some say 8. We say the longer, the stronger, the better. As long as it's long, it's strong, it's good. And when we say long, doesn't mean you go ABC all the way to Z. We mean we mainly use different characters.
Minimum of 26 character, but
yeah, you understand? Use different characters, different numbers, long letters, short letters. Again, a mix. If it's easy for you to remember it's easy for a hacker to guess.
Absolutely.
That's the key one. I don't know if you have any other one you want to add to that.
No, when we look at all of this, I'm a big fan of passwordless. I use it, but also I find a way to use a lot of the password solutions that I have to be able to at least store my passwords and use them like password managers. But even my password managers have got master password. That's I'm not joking, someone. But at least in one way, I don't have to repeat the passwords that I use in different places. Why organizations are a lot reluctant in adopting passwordless is just because they've got baggage, they've got legacy solutions that only depend on password that you probably cannot integrate with at the moment to be able to do passwordless. So a lot of them are tied to it. But the risk you've mentioned is one of the major things. How can we make password management stronger? So that is the only thing that we can say, yes, we don't want to neglect password security. We should find a better way. We talked about it, also some security of application security in one of our topics, to be able to make password a lot easier. When application makes risk less easier, help to tutor whoever needs to create passwords and all of that. Even in self-service, when you have to reset your password by yourself, there's also a gap there. How are we managing that we don't create that vulnerability? And we mentioned to CISOs as well, who are watching carefully when passwords are being compromised as well, especially when they're being compromised in the dark web, when like solutions like Have I Been Pwned are there, who have those databases. How do you integrate with them to be able to know, oh, this password has been compromised, do and reset? Also, even what we've not done well is our backend, which is databases and all of that, application authenticating to databases, for instance. We don't even know how to manage those secrets. We don't know how to manage those passwords yet. So all those service accounts, we need to find a better way to master them. So password might not go away. In the front end, you and I, adoption is very good. But when it comes to the reality of, when it comes to the enterprise, who have numerous applications, but of their legacy, we still have that to battle with for a while.
Another area, just from security best practice, just for people to know that if you look at one of our shows, we talk about CISOs and dark web. It's best practice is to also look at places where passwords are going to be leaked, to be able to secure your organization. So we say, look, ensure you're part of the dark web, and from a CISO perspective, know whether your organization is being talked about or whether, they're trading any of your confidential information. Those are where you have your deep security people looking out for the organization's brand. So things like password are normally shared in the deep dark web. And those are what you want to also be aware of, a step ahead of the curve before they actually get you. So at the end of the day, like I said, strong password, be part of the deep dark web, to be able, not even just the deep dark, just put your ears to the ground. Let's just call a spade a spade. If you're being talked about, if you're being maliciously targeted, it's always good to have that a feel of, and knowing that you're able to detect. A proactive detection is what we are talking about. And I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that. I was thinking, because we keep saying data centers, call centers, that people call the call centers to what they call it, to reset their password. I think organizations should try, like you mentioned, applications that will be able to do that automatically. That means you don't need any human intervention for you to reset your password. It makes it a bit stronger as well. So that's also helps the passwordless. So even if you have issues, for example, like we said, your biometrics, and you need to reset your password, you don't need to call any call center. You reset your password yourself. It authenticates you, it verifies you, and that makes it seamless as well. And that is what most organizations are going to. Most of them are really going away from actually you calling any IT help desk or anything like that. Correct. Automating the process is a best practice for password to ensure that your passwords are safe as well.
Absolutely. That is a level of security that also is advised, but perhaps it's better said than done. because most help desks have not even implemented that yet, self-service. Besides that as well, when you look at it, people don't even remember their old password because they have gone passwordless for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So that's another risk. So of social engineering.
Definitely.
So password is not good anywhere, but at the same time, we need to say, yes, let's do it better. Self-service is good. Secure password resets should be done in a better way to be able to implement. One way to say, yeah, who is your manager? You route the approval to the manager. Sometimes that could be bureaucracy when you don't remember anything at all. There must be a way to do stuff. So that is what we'll look at. And if you've not listened to some of our old topics that talks about security and also border on password and access management, please go ahead, check some of our libraries. You'll find them very interesting. And if you have any question, do email us, juteam@justunsecure.com.
Thank you all, and see you in the next series.
Absolutely.
Subscribe. Bye.